Okay, so this is going to be a tutorial of Grand Metro, doing a lot of faster strats. We're going to go through a lot of things here. Rocket excels, Mikey door, zips. Basically a lot of stuff that can speed up your time. So we're just going to go through each part. I'll start from the beginning and break it all down. So the very first thing here is, you know, you're holding forward, right? You just got launched off at the beginning of the level. You want to double rocket excel here, okay? So the visual cue for this is right when you touch the rings is when you can start holding B for the rocket excel and then double tap B, right? So boom, boom, just like that, okay? Which shoutouts to Disintegration was actually the person who told me about this when I was a very new runner, and it helped me a lot. So we want to do that. Double rocket excel, and then we're going to roll here, okay? And we're going to pause roll. So if you haven't learned what pause rolls yet, I'll explain it again. So in this game, when you're on a slope, if you roll, you will get more speed than if you were just running in a normal circumstance. The reason we pause when we roll is because Amy specifically pulls a hammer after she rolls, right? You know, when you roll and let go, she pulls that hammer, right? So the way we get around that is by letting go of B in the pause menu, which is why we call it a pause roll. Okay, so again here, I'm rocket excelling, I'm rolling, and as I was holding roll, I paused. Okay. You can figure out what works for you. The way I'm actually pausing is I'm holding, sorry if this is a little jank, I'm holding B here, and I reach my right finger over to pause. Okay. Now we let go of B here, so we get the speed. Okay. So I've let go of B, and I'm still holding up. Don't forget that you're still holding up. And now I'm going to unpause. And once again here, I'm going to roll again. Now, if you roll too early, like what I just did, you're actually going to go backwards up the rail or up the slope. So you don't want to do that. You want to make sure your roll is late enough like this before you roll again. So from the jump here, pause. I'm rolling and I'm pausing, and then rolling and pausing, and now I'm letting go of B. Okay, now if you've done this right, you'll have a lot of speed coming through here, and now you just do this next section normally. I'm gonna save state. And so here, similar circumstance. As well as with slopes and speed pads, you want to roll right before you go over a speed pad because it gives you more speed. But again, we don't want Amy to be pulling hammer when we roll. So basically, right as we roll on the speed pad, we pause, and we're going to let go of B in the pause menu here. So just do that twice, and then we move on to the next section, okay? So roll, and then we move on to the next section. Now I'm going to double tap to flight here, double tap X to flight, and then jump through this ring, okay? So, roll. I don't know why I decided to go around the ring there. I was thinking about something else, but you want to go through the ring. And what I will say is it's really easy to run to this robot here. So you don't want to go right in the middle because that will happen. You'll run into the robot. You want to take the path around it, if that makes sense. So like that, okay? And then I like to land as Amy here in this section, okay? So once you've done that, you'll probably get here about at 20 seconds, which means you're on really solid. That was a really good beginning. This next section is obviously we normally would just kill the turtle, right? Normally you just kill the turtle like this, and then you would ground excel and keep moving. We can save time here by gliding over the bridge as it's spawning in, okay? So the way we do that is we come up here, hit him normally with umbrella, and then we're gonna umbrella cancel and hold A. Here, let me just show you what I'm doing here. So we're gonna umbrella cancel. At this point, you should know what umbrella cancel is, right? I'm pressing B and then deploying umbrella right before I'm touching the ground, but doing it early enough that I get the umbrella. If you're having this happen to you, where you don't get umbrella at all, it means you're pressing A too late. You want to press A while Big is in the belly flop state, like while he's basically initiating a belly flop. If it helps you, it usually helps me. You can hold jump higher. This will give you more time to deploy the umbrella. So yeah. So basically, once we do that, we need to deploy umbrella and then press A again. So if we just did one normally. Oops, well, I'm missing it now. So if you just do one normally, it actually gets rid of your umbrella. So you need to press A twice here. So successfully done, it looks like this. Well, let's see. So yeah, if you press A too quickly, like what I'm doing, you won't get it. Okay. So this takes some practice. It's not necessary, but it does save some time. Okay. You can also do a slide around here, but it's not really worth it. It's just swag strats. You can try to kill with belly flop there, but as you see, you don't give the bridge enough time to actually spawn in. So basically, don't risk anything, just do normal. And if you miss it, it's fine, just keep moving on. Don't sweat it. This is a small time save. And now I'm just I've done too many belly flops that I mess myself up. Like this. Okay. So once you've landed with Amy here, we're now gonna do the clip through the gate, if you will. So this is something that gets a lot of people. It's the best way to describe it. Right, so if you've done the previous section correctly, like where you just got what I got here, let me save a state. You'll have your teammates with you to where you can just initiate the rocket accel to get through the gate here. But even then, you can miss it, okay? If you're missing this section, what you want to do is switch to flight here, and then find your spot. The best way I can describe how to get this, if this is causing you trouble, right? If you're not getting through the door, that I'll explain what to do. Let's just see here. Because there's like a lot of ways this can go wrong, right? Like maybe you're bouncing off the thing, or you're not clipping through in time. Or you're getting hammer early. There's a lot of things that can go wrong. We'll try and explain here through most of them. We'll go off the premise that you aren't getting this first part, because this part is just pretty difficult. If you are, you can just time it right, learn the timing, and keep moving and be on your way, okay? Now, if you don't get it, every missed attempt... Okay, well, I'm trying to accidentally miss it, but... I always like to switch back to flight here. The reason's because you call totem. Sometimes Big will fall off the edge here. Like, you'll clip a character through, and they'll, like, fall off. So to call them back, just quickly switch to flight here. So the way I like to think about this, and the way I learned it, is I just found a spot that worked for me. That initial spot was aligned here with the switch. So I kind of knew I had this, like, border. You can also maybe use the spot here of, like, the information thing. Just find your spot and learn the timing for that spot, okay? So what we're doing here is we are rolling, right? We're rocket excelling and basically getting a hammer pull through the door, through the gate. If you don't get the hammer pull, you're gonna see what happens there, where see how I'm just rolling to my doom. If you ever have that happen, it means that you didn't let go of B soon enough. Okay, so we want to let go of B soon enough so we get that hammer pull, so then we can jump out and then obviously continue on. So if that's what's happening to you, it means you need to be letting go of B just slightly sooner. And so as I was saying, it's nice to just like have that spot that you know always works. So like I'm kind of showing you here my spot that always works for me because I've just practiced it enough timings. I know the inputs. Should be dead here. I'm actually curious, would I live in this? No. So yeah, for me, that spot was here, aligned with this switch. And basically, I just practiced figuring out what works for that. And just do that a million times till you figure it out. Like I said, if you're getting roll, that means you're not letting up from the B button fast enough. Okay, because remember, letting go of B is what initiates the hammer pull, not pressing B. So if that's happening, let go just a few frames earlier. Not too many, because if you have too many frames earlier, you're going to get the weird hammer like twirl thing that she does, right? So it's just a very precise timing, okay? Like I said, so every missed attempt, you want to switch to flight to pull them back. And then what I haven't been saying, which I think is important, is in this game, you might not have learned this yet, a good way to call your teammates to you is to hold B and then do a little circle. Because sometimes they're off doing their own thing, being annoying. So doing a little circle, aligning with where you want to go, can be really helpful. See, like their big kind of waited a second for some reason. So if you were noticing when I was doing all those successful ones, I'm doing a little circle to help myself, okay? Eventually you can learn how to do it without the circle, right? And just kind of raw dog it. But for a while, I think it's best to learn it. Plus, I always think a backup is better with doing a little circle. So just a little tip there. So again, I pulled it early, which is why I didn't clip through. That meant I need to let go of B just a few frames later. Like that. Okay, and then you want to rocket or homing attack forward. So hopefully that gives you some clarity on that. I can't really think of anything else to say. You'll eventually get the timing down. This timing here. And you can just zoom through like that. Okay, so the next section here. Do this. So we need to grab this first upgrade, okay? Or this first checkpoint, I should say, because we need the cream upgrade. When you get a checkpoint, every character gets an upgrade. Or not every character. The character that grabs it, excuse me, gets the upgrade. So we need to grab this checkpoint as cream. So as you can see, I just came with a homing attack with Amy here. So we want to quickly switch to cream to grab the checkpoint. Okay. But then we need to want to switch back to Amy to go through the speed pad. So it looks like this when done correctly. So coming through, switch to cream. And then the second I grab it, I'm switching back to Amy here. And I want to roll on the speed pad. Pause roll on the speed pad. Like we talked about earlier. We want that speed. Okay. So one more time. So here I messed up. So switch to cream and then instantly switch back to Amy and roll on the speed pad. The next part here, wrong state. So the next part here is we want to how am I going to explain this? So when you normally come down here, right, the normal thing would be go up here and just continue on, right? But we can actually save time by double switching and basically getting in the ring and landing up here faster. So let me... Sorry, my timing is off a little bit. I'm not used to doing it from there. Let me do it from here. Okay. So this section, so we actually aren't double switching. I just realized with my muscle memory, we want a single switch. So again, we're gonna come here, grab this as cream, switch to Amy, roll. Okay. So now the next thing we're looking for here, is when you see this speed ring disappear from the top of your screen, that's when you want to switch to flight and activate flight, if that makes sense. That's your visual cue. So this is awkward because I'm not in the pause menu. So watch this ring disappear here off the top of my screen. That's when I'm switching to cream and pressing flight. Like that. If you do it correctly, hold on. If you do that correctly, you have activated flight when you go through the speed ring, and then you can activate flight again to essentially stop yourself from going higher. Let me just make sure I'm saying this correctly. Sorry, it's kind of hard to articulate. Looks like this. So as you see, I activated flight. When I went through the ring, I was able to activate flight again, and that allows me to land really fast here. So the reason we want to land really fast here is because we're skipping the time it takes for the ring to send us up and then back down. So now that I'm in, I was in totem, right? And I switched back to big. Now I can do an instant rocket excel with cream. So one more time here. Let's go through the section. Sorry if this is kind of a lot of information. I'm trying my best to articulate it. So, oops. Grab with flight. Switch to this. Activate flight. It's okay if you miss it. So you'll miss the timing. You'll eventually get it down. Like I said, the visual cue is basically right when the rings go off screen. But this is going to happen to you for a while until you get the timing down. It's kind of hard to articulate the timing. You just got to kind of feel it out. But this is okay. You can still do the rest mostly normal. A lot of times you're not going to get cream to show up with you, which is part of the reason why it's important to do it correctly. And if you're too low, you'll have that happen. So, like that is what we're looking for. Like this. Okay, so, save state. We're landing here as big, and now we're going to do a rocket excel. And so, when we do the rocket excel, we want to hold B about halfway up this slope. The reason we want to hold B is so... sorry, I'm trying to, like, show you. So, as you see, I held B, and now cream is with me again, and I can do another rocket excel before it's too late. So, let me show you what that looks like in real time. Oops, I'm sorry. I don't want to do it that early. Let me... So we want cream with us. And the reason why we want cream with us is we want her for a Rocket Excel right here, like this, okay? If you don't call her and just go here, she's not going to be with you when you go across here. See, like I'm holding it. She is now, but you can't actually do a Rocket Excel there. You want her with you. Okay, and so the way that I go about doing this is Rocket Excel, hold B, don't let go of B while you're running all the way up, and hold B even when you jump on the thing, and then you jump on the speed ramp. So holding B, I'm holding B until that point, and now I can Rocket Excel, okay? So holding B, jump while holding B. Sometimes she still like kind of fucks off, but there she worked. Your mileage is gonna vary a bit on that, but hopefully that explains the section of how to get cream to stick with you. This is something that took me a while to get down, just because I didn't fully understand what I was doing. But yeah, so if you get cream with you, you can hold B here, keep holding it, jump, and now she'll be with you for a Rocket Excel. You do need to do the Rocket Excel very fast off this ramp. Don't wait. Just do it like instantly. Sometimes you will get boned thinking that she's going to show up, and she won't. Just accept that that's reality and keep moving. Okay, last time here. So holding it. And she might not be with me. Yeah, so sometimes, like I just said, she won't show up. There I could tell. Usually you can tell because if she's floating with you on the way over, you'll kind of know if she's going to be there. I mean, every once in a while she might surprise you, but I wouldn't count on it. You know for sure you'll get it though when like you get this. It's like, okay, here she goes. She's with me. This will work. I'm going to save state here. Okay, so once you've gotten this Rocket Excel, first of all, let's say you don't get the Rocket Excel, okay? So I'm just gonna, for example, not Rocket Excel. If you're doing this, again, running down a slope, you wanna pause roll at least once to gain a little bit of speed. You don't wanna do it too close to this, or it doesn't really help you much. It's like, and it can mess up the loop. So generally you want to do it like about here or so. Just roll and pause, let go of B. And then you want to do another one right here. Right as you're coming out of the loop, just to save a little bit of speed. You don't, as I was saying earlier, you don't want to roll while you're still in the loop. So like if I roll here, I might go backwards, right? Like I just did. And obviously we don't want to be going the wrong way. So, or you can fall off. Make sure you are rolling once the slope is done. Once the loop is done. So right about here, you can kind of see where it changes. Anywhere in here is like a good spot to just get a roll and make sure you have a good speed. But so if you do get the Rocket Excel, do not roll. Because sometimes it's not going to help you and it might actually hurt you, so it's not really worth it. But you still want to roll here because at that point you've lost a lot of that speed and keep moving. So in this area, we want to grab the checkpoint as cream. We need 2 cream upgrades. Okay. So grab it as cream. And we're going to do bridge clip. At this point, you probably know how to do bridge clip, so I'm not going to really explain too much. I'm just going to go through it. By the way, I'm glad this happened. So if you know you're going to hit this window here because you didn't get enough speed coming down, switch to flight if you see you're about to hit it. The reason is you're buffering the switch to flight. You'll just glide through the window and land right where the checkpoint is. You don't want to like land here as Amy or Cream. So see how like I land right through, and then we can just keep going and then do the bridge clip, right? Like that. In a normal circumstance though, let's get a normal one here. So rolling. We'd switch to big, and then cream, and then jump through. And then thunder shoot. And I want to land as big here. The reason you want to land as big is because we're about to do a ground excel. And so it just saves time. Okay. So all together, it should look like this. Okay, recognize that I'm going to hit the window, so switch to flight. Grab the checkpoint, ground excel, jump, and now thunder shoot, keep moving, and be on my way. Obviously, you want to miss the window, but sometimes you're going to hit it, and that's the backup, which I'm glad that it happened so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, this section. This is going to be a comprehensive part for both using the speed rings here and Mikey door. Okay, I might actually split this into its own separate video as well, but it's going to be in the whole tutorial here. Okay, so for this, what the tutorial, I believe, it's been a while since I've done the tutorial strats, but tutorial strats would tell you to come here, jump across like this, and then keep going. Okay, but we can do something faster, which is use those speed rings up there to our advantage. Okay, so, you know, we just came from bridge clip. We're gonna do a ground excel here. And when you do a ground excel here, you wanna double switch to cream. Don't hold forward once you get through the second speed pad here, because we want to get this ring without going too far forward, right? Because we're basically using the ring to float over to this area. So you can get locked out sometimes. So basically we're trying to jump. You can, so if you want to play it safe, you can just jump after the first ring here and float over. It's not quite as fast. I was doing this for a while. If you want to be a little bit more fast, you can hit both speed pads like this and then go up. You're gonna have to just figure out the timing. There's not really a easy way to go about it, explaining it. Basically, you can go too far and then you'll have to come backward like this. So just kind of figure out the timing. I like to let go of neutral the second I go through the second speed pad and then go from there. But you can kind of figure out what works for you. Sometimes you'll get locked like that. It's best to try and jump too, right when you're going through the second speed pad. Yeah, so if you hold neutral, I'm kind of like figuring out how to explain this in real time. If you hold neutral right as you go over the second speed pad and then jump, you'll have that momentum forward. So, but if you're too early like this, then you just miss the speed pad. But yeah, so as you've probably seen, you can, you know, fly over, adjust the camera and fly over to the section. The way I like to do that is, so here I'm going to press R to turn my camera so I see this, and then activate flight and keep moving. Sorry, I did it while paused, so I was early. I like to wait until my visual cue for knowing when to activate flight here is right when, so I'm pressing R, right when this goes off the top of my screen. That's when I activate flight. And you can thunder shoot. You can maybe do a little bit sooner if you want. You just need to make sure you activate flight late enough that you aren't, that you have enough meter, right? So I wait till about there. And I like to do the thunder shoot because thunder shoots in this game they increase the meter slightly. or they stall the meter, I guess I should say. You're not really increasing it. You're just stalling the time. And it'll thunder shoot this guy, which doesn't really matter. He's not going to hurt you, but it looks cool. So yeah, practice this section. I like making a state here for both this and the next thing that I'm going to show you, which is Mikey Door. You can figure out what works for you, but I like practicing this too. Okay, so Mikey Door. So we have come to this part, and normally what we would do is come through here. Oops. Pull the switch. Pull the switch. Kill this guy. And then Rocket Excel. And keep moving, right? Well, we can skip opening those switches and save time with a roll clip. This is arguably the hardest roll clip in Team Rose. It's going to take you a while to get down, so just bear with me on this. I'm going to try my best to explain it the best I can. So, coming from the spot where we just did the rings to fly over here, we're going to ground excel, and then double switch to flight and jump over this gate that switches you to power, right? So, where's my state? Ground excel, double switch, and float over here. Now, alignment, I like to use this little, I don't know, crease in the ground, you can call it, to kind of be my gauge of where I want to be standing relative to it. You don't need to be like all the way back here. You can if you want to. Just, I would say try and stay close to the edge if you can, especially early on while you get the timing down. But the reason we want to be flight is because, as I've been saying in my other tutorials, which maybe you have watched or maybe you haven't, when you switch from flight to power, your teammates will go on your left and right, like this. And this means that you can consistently get a rocket excel off of a ground excel, which is what we need to clip through this door. So if this is your first time attempting a roll clip, I would say go learn an easier one first, which maybe not what you not want to hear. I would recommend checking out my Bingo Highway tutorial. The roll clip in there about halfway through the level is I would say arguably the easiest roll clip. If not, the Hang Castle tutorial I have has the other roll clip. Both those explain it. I'm going to explain it here, but just know that if you haven't successfully done roll clips, this is going to be a hard one to learn first. Now, with that caveat said, how do I roll clip through here? So we're going to need a ground excel, and then rocket excel, and then roll through this door, okay? So if done correctly, it should look like this. And you go right through the door, right? Make it look like there's no door even there. Okay. I should have saved the state. So, again, I want to line up about with this line. I kind of think of it as if Big's right arm is where the line is. This is like a really clean spot. When I was jumping over, so you want to jump over with flight. Early on here, you can probably do this slow just to help yourself get like the spot. You don't need to be absurdly precise where you are here. It's just about where you shoot through. You do need to clip through on the right side of the door. Like, even if the turtle's gone, you can't clip through the middle. It needs to be on the side. I think you can technically do the left side as well, but right side's closer. You want to aim basically for like this part of the door where this green thing comes up a bit. That's kind of what you're looking for. So, as I was saying, we need to do a ground excel into a rocket excel into a roll to get through the door. So, I keep forgetting to save a state. So I'm jumping here, flight, switching to big. Now my teammates are next to each other. Okay, I'm gonna save a state here. We'll do this one. Okay, so I was hoping this would happen so I can give you a good example. So here I'm actually too far to the left. If you remember what I was just saying about Big's hand and this line, I'm a little bit too far left here. So as you could tell, while I did the inputs correctly, it's a lot less likely to let me through the door. There it was generous. But it's not always going to let me through. You kind of want to be just a little bit further right here. So Big's right arm, his glove is closer to this line. This will just give you more success going through the door. So again, we are ground excelling into rocket excelling. Okay, and we're doing the rocket excel right in front of the door. Now, when you initiate the rocket excel, you need to hold B, okay? The reason you need to hold B is because it's a roll clip. What does holding B do? You roll, because we need to roll through the door. So, ooh, I didn't mean to jump. I actually had it and messed up. The reason we roll is in this game, when you roll, your hurt box actually shrinks. And so when your hurt box is shrunken, it's easier to clip through things because the game isn't able to push you back as fast, if that makes sense. So basically what we're doing here is after we've initiated just imagine I ground excelled. When I'm rocket excelling close enough to this door that I have the speed I need to clip through the door, and then I'm rolling through the door by holding B. Okay, so where's the state? Mistimed it there. Like this, and you're getting through the door. Okay, so ground excel, rocket excel. Ground excel, rocket excel, hold B. And you can be looking at my inputs for this part. It's, it's a lot happening really quick. So I understand that. Just watch the inputs to kind of figure out exactly how I'm doing that. So there's one part I haven't mentioned yet, and that's me turning the camera. You've probably noticed. See how I turn the camera there to get through? This is a little trick to help it work. If you don't turn the camera, you might be stuck trying to roll through but haven't quite gotten through it. See, like here, that whole time I wasn't turning the camera, but if I would have turned the camera, I would have given it to me. So, you see how that gives it to me? Basically, also I haven't mentioned, but you should be holding up the whole time. You've probably noticed that from my inputs, but I should say it. So you want to be holding up when you do this, and as you're doing that and trying to roll through the door, when you press L, or your left camera button, whatever you want to call it if you're not using a GameCube controller, right, this button right here, it's like turning the camera just enough that it gives you this, I don't know if it's like changing the angle, I actually don't know why that happens, but it's letting you through. So basically you want to do that whenever you're trying to clip through this door specifically. So give that a little boost. Sometimes it's going to be janky, but that's okay. It's just like that might happen. It's fine. Just you've gone through the door. You're already saving the time, right? Sometimes you got to take this down route. It's not the end of the world. Okay, and you just keep moving. Okay, so that is Mikey door. You're gonna mess up sometimes. If you mess up the first time, if you've activated the turtle, when you start shooting these green things at you, is he gonna do it? This basically blocks you. You can't, it's gonna be really hard to try and rocket excel through. I just recommend killing him and then coming back and trying again here. So lining yourself, right? So like here, this is a good spot. Big is relatively close to this. And just get through the door like that. Okay, so for this next section, if you're noticing, if you do have that speed, you can glide over the platforms here. So glide, switch to Amy, glide, keep moving, rocket excel. You don't have to do this. Like, you could fall down here, ground excel, pause roll, roll through the slope, and keep moving. But I believe it's technically slightly faster to just do these glides, especially if you're really quick at them. And then you can get a rocket excel here. Okay, so that's the next section. So the other thing you could do is come down here, intentionally belly flop, speed roll, or roll through the speed pad, and then keep going. Okay, so for this next section, as you just saw, right, I did the glides. I guess if I haven't explained what a glide is, I'm assuming if you're at this juncture in your career, you kind of know what a glide is, but just really quickly, I guess I'll explain it just to be safe. So I'm pressing X to switch to big, and then I'm double tapping A, and the second A tap, I'm holding A. Okay, because I'm jumping and instantly deploying umbrella. And doing that carries my momentum forward in what is called a glide. Okay, so here again, I did it. And the glide is very dependent on your momentum. Okay, so so here's with like good momentum, and then here's with bad momentum. See how I'm like lower on the slope? I didn't go as far. So it's important to preserve momentum when you're doing that. Okay. If you want, you could just jump with Amy and then double rocket excel here. When you go over that speed ramp as Amy, usually your teammates are with you to just double rocket excel if you want the easier strat. Okay, that's enough on that section. So the last thing I want to say is when you go off the slope here as Amy, you know, you're either rocket excelling through this part area here, or you aren't, but regardless, you're rolling off the slope. You want to roll off the slope, not jump, so you drop quicker. When you get towards the ground, you want a homing attack. The reason for that is it preserves more momentum. If you homing attack high, here, I'm going to save a state here. We'll do this one. So that's with nothing, right? That was just so if you homing attack, you see how much quicker I got through that section. So homing attack really low to the ground, and then I switched to big to hit the turtle guy. Homing attack, boom. If I homing attack early, see, it kills my momentum like that. And see how much further I have to run forward. So this is like tiny detail, but very useful information. Whenever you're like falling like this with Amy, and you know you're gonna stay Amy, when you hit the ground, you want to homing attack low to the ground to preserve that momentum. So like this. And it just saves you time. Okay, so as you can see right there, the next thing you want to do is hit the turtle. In this case, I just use big. There are faster methods, but I'm not good enough at it to explain how to do it. To hit the turtle, but you hit the turtle, and then you can... so, you know, this switch here, you can either just jump on the switch, like this, and keep moving. But what's faster to do is rocket excel the switch like this. Or in that case, I think I just hit it with hammer. But you can rocket excel to activate the switch here. Like that. See that? That is quicker than me having to jump and land. Okay. So once you do that, you want to set yourself up here to do ground excel on the left. Okay. So I like to do that. I just jump over. So I jump over with flight like that, or not with flight, with Big's umbrella, just so I get myself ready for the next thing here, which is going to be a ground excel. Okay. So I want to ground excel into zip like this, which gives you this momentum to run over this next section. Trying to like let me get a realistic here. I kind of messed up that. Trying to get a save state. Yeah, so if you notice you get too close, it pushes you to the left there. So you want to make sure you're not too close to the door that it's like messing up your setup. Oh my god, that preserved my momentum. Okay, this is good enough. We'll do save state here. So for this section, we want to get that zip like I just showed to preserve your speed. The way you do that is you're going to ground excel here, switch to flight, jump, and my visual cue is this line on the door here, on the wall here. Right as your camera goes off, right as like this is going off the top of your screen, you want to activate flight. And so like this. Let me get it better. Like that. And if you did that right, you're going to get a zip. If you don't know what a zip is, while in flight, basically when you thunder shoot, holding forward, right at about the level of Amy or Cream's shoes, you'll get what is called what we call a zip, which shoots you fast like this. See how I'm like moving really quick with flight? Now, there I did it using the Rocket Excel on the previous part. Now this is good, but we want the issue is Cream is not very fast, right, on her own comparative to Amy. So what we want to do is zip and then instantly switch to Amy, okay? So homing attack, boom, boom. For this section, so ground excel, look for the line, switch. So basically we're pressing B to thunder shoot, and then we're instantly going to X. Okay. I'm trying to think, do I actually press the A button while I'm here? Let me go to the right state. Let me see here. Yeah, so I do. Okay. So for this, I'm going to show you here what I'm doing with my thumb, right? Because I'm basically in a position where I'm holding up and I'm pressing B here to thunder shoot, but I need to instantly switch to Amy. So right as I thunder shoot, I roll over A and press X. Obviously, if you don't have a GameCube controller, you're going to have to figure out what you do here. But for any GC users, I am holding up and then swiping from B to X. And it's okay if you press A because you're in the action of thunder shoot, so it's not going to buffer like a flight or something, because you've already activated flight right at that point, I think. Hold on, let me double check, make sure I'm not just saying things. Yeah, because you activate flight right here, so you pressing A doesn't do anything. Okay, and if you did it correctly, so using the line, activate flight, swipe to X, you have all this speed with Amy, and you run over this next section. So last time here. And it can be kind of hard to grab the switches as big here because you have all that speed, but you'll get used to it. I would just recommend practicing this spot right here, practicing the zip height. Yeah, this will happen sometimes where you clip through. You'll get a lot of those, but hopefully my visual cue is helpful. And your mileage is going to vary literally on how fast you zip. It's all dependent on your height. So if you're a little low, you might get a faster one. If you're a little high, you might get a slower one. It really just depends on your height. Okay, so next section. I guess one last thing, actually, I should say here. When you're grabbing these switches, by the way, let me save state here. When you're pushing the switch in, this is something I didn't know for a while, it was slowing me down. A lot of people like to jump here to like get out of the switch animation. So like this. It's actually a little bit slower. What you can do is just hold down and do like a half circle the direction you need to go. So it looks like this. Like that. And that'll break you out a little bit quicker than jumping. And then you can do... This one doesn't matter because the door, you have to wait for the door anyway. But that's just a little thing that will optimize your time. Okay. For this section, we're going to just do it the same as you've done. We'll do 2 here. So we're going to ground excel. And just go up the pole. Here, we're going to instantly land as big and ground excel. Okay. So ground excel, double switch to flight, go through here. Now this is taco strat. If you went through as flight, do not activate flight, by the way. So when you're here, you want to jump through these rings, okay? The second you land, ground excel, okay? So, looks like this. Like that, you can get an instant rocket excel and then go over this next section. Okay. One thing is if you're holding forward the whole time, sometimes it's going to make it a little bit harder for Cream to come with you. So what you can do to give yourself a little bit more buffer is once you go through the speed ring here, let go of B right before you land, and then you can do the ground excel, rocket excel. Okay. Cool. So for this next section, if you remember that we grabbed those 2 level ups as Cream, this is the reason why. Traditionally, what you would do from the Joey's tutorial is you would come here and just activate Team Blast, but activating a Team Blast is slow, right? Even though it pauses the in-game timer, you're not actually saving that time. It's still counting it on the final IGT time, in-game time. Let me get a sip of water here. So instead, we Thundershoot these guys, but the only way we are able to Thundershoot them is by having that level 2 Cream, because her Thundershoot gets stronger, which is why we did that. So what we want to do here is we need to evade this robot right here, right? We don't want to run into him. So basically when you're coming through here, just try to go around him just slightly, because you also don't want to run through this as Cream or as not Cream, because it's going to kill your momentum if you're like Amy and you run. So like if I'm Amy and I run through here, it instantly stops me because I switched, you know, from Amy straight to Cream. So what we want to do is state, double switch. You double tap X here as you're going through the gate to keep your momentum. Sorry, it's a little weird off this pause. Okay. And then we're going to jump here and activate flight right as we go through the speed ring. Okay. So the reason we're doing that is if you just jump through the speed ring here, like activate flight, you're not really actionable. So like, see, I'm like pressing B here and nothing's happening. We want to be able to Thundershoot these robots early, right? But if we just activate flight, B doesn't work. So what you need to do is as you activate flight through this ring, you actually want to Thundershoot at the right time. Sorry, this is a little awkward spacing. Like this. And now you see how my guy's hands are in the air? That means I'm actionable. I was actionable basically that whole time because I did the Thundershoot, activated flight through the ring. So now I can Thundershoot all 3 guys in one foul sweep. So if you did that correctly, it should look like this. and you want to hold forward here, and as you see, Big's about to land on the switch, and he landed on the switch for me, and so basically I saved all the time it would take to go there, Team Blast, jump on the switch. Okay? Hopefully I'm explaining that well. So basically, as we activate Flight, we're Thunder Shooting here. And because I did that, you'll see that I did get the Thunder Shoots, so I'm going to be actionable, and I can do these 3 Thunder Shoots. When you're Thunder Shooting, you want to press A and B. The reason for that, like mash A and B as fast as you can. The reason for that is if you just mash B, there's like a set speed that Cream shoots Thunder Shoots, but if you're Flight excelling as you're Thunder Shooting, it will go quicker. Okay? So come through here. Sorry, made this state a little tight for myself. So we come through here, we come up here, Thunder Shoot, and then can Thunder Shoot the 3 guys. If you space it wrong, you won't hit the switch. It's not the end of the world. You can just Rocket Excel the switch like we were talking earlier. But you want to get good at the timing. Let me do it from here to make this a little bit easier. So this section should look like this. So because I know I got the Thunder Shoot here, I can start Thunder Shooting the second I'm level with the ground. So like, you can do it even earlier if you want, but see, I was a little short there with Big. Oops, a little bit far. So basically, like right here, you can start doing it. Maybe a good visual cue would be right when the ground is level with the bottom of your screen. So right about here is when you want to start Thunder Shooting. When you see that the ground is about to go like off your screen, that means you can Thunder Shoot here to do it. Now, in that case, it didn't work because I had the delay of unpausing and like trying to do it, but see how like that kind of works timing wise. You also want to be holding forward to make sure that they hit the switch as you're doing those Thunder Shoots. So like that, and there we go. Okay, so this next section here, as you activated the switch, what you want to do, let me save a state here. I'll do this one. So in this section, in the tutorial, you probably just hit this guy and then go up like this and keep moving, right? But we can actually save a little bit of time, okay? The way we do that is by, we can basically be ready as the doors open to umbrella cancel here, to move forward, hit the guy with Big, and then it'll launch us up on the spring. So it looks like this. And so this is a little bit faster than using homing attack with Amy. Now this is fast, but we can be even faster than this, okay? And the reason this isn't as fast as it could be is because, so I did my swing, right? You know, I hit the, you know, I swing here. But the issue is when I swung here, and then go to hit, sorry, I'm not explaining this well. So the issue is when I went to hit the thing and then I switch back to Amy to get out of them being on my shoulders, and then I umbrella cancel and swing again. There's a problem here. They're on my shoulders again, okay? Now, why is this a problem? Because I can't belly flop with them on my shoulders, right? So like, if I do that, you see how I'm thunder dunking? We don't want that. So what do we need to do here, right? Because I activated the switch. I'm switching to Amy, and now I'm umbrella canceling. Well, if I hit my umbrella cancel. Oh my goodness. Alright. Umbrella cancel, press B, right? And then I hold right to make sure I'm landing in the ring. Again, I can't... Like, that is slow to go through and do that. So there's actually a little time save that Soup told me about. Which is, this is a weird property about heroes, so pay attention here. Basically, when you swing like this and with big and they're on your shoulders, if you get them off your shoulders, not by switching characters, but by deploying Umbrella. So right now I'm going to deploy Umbrella. Now they're in a state where if I do the same exact thing I just did, where I umbrella cancel, hit this guy, so I'm going to umbrella cancel, press B to hit this guy, and then go up, they will not be on my shoulders. So look at that. They're not on my shoulders, so now I can belly flop down, switch to get the ground excel, and then keep moving. Okay. It's just a unique property about the game, so don't switch off with a character switch, because then... Sorry. You won't be able to do this, where you have no one on your shoulders, right? So you want to umbrella, belly flop, and now you can move forward. Word of caution, because you can belly flop, do not belly flop too early without holding forward, otherwise you'll come back down here. Make sure you've held forward far enough that you're going to actually belly flop onto the platform above you, right? So like this, and now I'm good. You want to, so obviously we're doing a ground excel here. You need to make sure you roll. If you don't, you're going to have that weird like boost forward. You want to roll, partially just because you always want to roll when you're going down a ledge, but also we want to land on these speed pads. And we want to, if you really want to, you want to get the roll, because remember as we were talking earlier, you want to roll on a speed pad to even get more speed. Because the goal is to get into this cannon as fast as possible, right? So, all together here. So we swung, hit the switch. We had them on my shoulders. Now I took them off my shoulders by deploying Umbrella. Umbrella cancel, hit them with B. I'm holding right here, by the way, to make sure I land in the ring. I do not have them on my shoulders, which means I can now belly flop with big, switch to Amy for ground excel, and roll off the thing. Like this. And then I want to let go of holding forward so I don't overshoot this. I accidentally deployed a hammer here. But then we can roll straight into the thing. Okay, so let me do this without talking. Oh, messed up. Yeah, make sure you don't hit yourself on the switch. Oh man, that was strange. Okay, let's try and do that one more time without any weird shenanigans. So yeah, you can see this stuff is intense. There we go. And I like to jump in just to kind of get a better angle. But yeah, so now we are on the final section. We made it. If you've been watching this video this far, good job if you've gotten to this point. There's a lot of things in this, okay? So I'm glad that you bear with me here. Save the state. So final section. At this point, if you're learning this, you already know about rail mechanics. You need to be holding B the whole time. I would recommend not letting go of B at all. So we're just switching here. If you notice my inputs here, I'm always holding B even when I'm off. Basically just buffering the switch. And so if you notice right there, you're like, wait, how the fuck did the level end? You didn't even get to the ring. So I'm glad you asked, viewer. Basically, we can manipulate Cream to have a shot at getting the goal ring here. Now, this is dependent on a lot of things, and do not expect this to be consistent. I'm glad I hit this first try. But essentially, so, you know, I'm switching here between Amy and Big to get max rail speed. Basically, I'm holding B here, and the visual cue I use is the rings in front of me. Basically, right when I get to the rings in front of me, I want to double switch to cream by pressing X twice. So in that case, it didn't work because cream's position was already launched in the air, so it didn't throw her. So that's what I mean by like your mileage is going to vary on this one. Like, basically, we always just give it a try. You don't really lose anything giving it a try. So like here, there we go. And we got it. And if you notice, cream was behind me. So I know I'm making this look easy. It's going to take you a while to probably get down. And you're not always going to get it, but there's no point not going for it because you don't really lose any time. And you save a whole second getting it. So that time I was a little high. If you saw, she shot up a little bit. That's why we want to do right at the beginning of the rings, because usually she's at a spot where she's going to go like more straight. But it's okay. As you see, I'm just going to fall right into the goal ring, and I didn't really lose much. But yeah, so that is how you can do Metro faster. I did exempt certain strats just because I'm either not that good at them or they're really advanced and you can learn it on your own at that point. But hopefully this gives you a good base to get faster Metro times. I don't want to be seeing 3-minute Metros. I believe in you. You can get a 220-ish, 225, maybe 230. For me, I know I think my in runs PB is a 211, but you can push this down to like 204 or 28 if you really want to. I know Katie's got an absurd sub 2 minute, which is wild, but yeah, hopefully that's helpful.